Hello, everybody. Hero 77 here, and we are live here today. I am standing here with Sagittarically Speaking, as usual, and we are here on the broadcast, and we are going to be talking about some Mandela effects, including one big Mandela effect that I think might be an older Mandela effect, but we're going to talk about it anyway because it's new to us, and if it's new to us, then it's definitely new. How are you doing tonight, Sagittarically Speaking?
Wonderful, thank you. How about yourself?
Well, not too bad. I got to tell you though, I got up today. I got up at 7 in the morning, and this is not unusual for me. But usually, I get up and then I'm able to take a nap. Well, I had about 5 cups of coffee today, and pretty much I've been up since 7, and here it is going on what, just about 8 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock your time.
Sounds about right. So you've been up for a little over 12 hours with no nap?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, man, at my age, you know, which you're probably, I'm not going to speculate, but I'd say, are you older than me?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. I'm going. I'm closer to 50 than I am 40.
Okay, then I'm just a young kid then.
But I think Armor's got us both beat.
I think so. Yeah, he's an old man. He knows we're just teasing him. So yeah, um, sitting here watching the Cardinal ball game, and they're winning 3-1. It was 3-0. Um, So I wanted to go straight into some Mandela effects, but let's see who's watching, if there's anybody watching at all. I'll let you. Is there anything besides the Mr.Bill effect that you want to talk about?
No, I mean I don't have any other ones that are breaking news, so to speak.
Okay, well, I'm going to go into YouTube. I'm on in YouTube right now. I'm going to check out the chat, see if there's anybody watching, see if my notifications went out. If mine didn't go out, then I know no one else's went out either. Let's see here. My channel. There it is. Mr. Bill effect. That's what I named. There's nobody here yet. I better put it on mute, muting it down. There we go. Okay. So yeah, there's nobody in here right now. Um, I want to go ahead and get into the Hulk Hogan Mandela effect. It's something that I sort of came up with on my own. Um, I want to turn my camera on, and this is how I'm going to do it because I can't screen share. There seems to be one person in here, so we'll go ahead and do that. Um, okay, I'm going to turn my camera on. You get to see my ugly mug. There we go. Okay, so I have here, you can see him here. It's the 1984, or I'm sorry, 1985 Hulk Hogan, and he's got red knee pads. I'm going to back him off a little bit so you can see the whole figure. Uh, as you notice, he's got yellow trunks on, yellow trunks, yellow boots, red knee pads. Okay. Now I'm going to show a picture of. I'm going to get out of the chat and show a picture of Hulk Hogan with blue knee pads in the same year. Go ahead and talk for a minute. Go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. It took me a second to get to the button. But that's the Hulk Hogan picture, the classic Hulk Hogan. And you said you have a picture of him wearing blue knee pads. And you mentioned the same year. I'm assuming you mean by the same year that the action figure was released. So
Yeah, I've got it. I got it up now. I'm going to show it on my phone. I'm going to put my phone up to the camera. Okay, here's my phone. Can you see it? You see the blue knee pads? There's that. Okay, I'm going to go over a little bit more. Back it off a little bit. Now that's an image from eBay.
I don't think you're presenting to the main screen. You're just in your small window.
Oh, I'm sorry. But you could see the blue knee pads, right?
I mean, barely, because there was a glare. Plus, you're in the small window.
Let me try to. Did you get that link I sent you? Those links.
Yes, I did. I hadn't really had a chance to look at them yet. I came right on to broadcast. I didn't really get a chance to look at them.
Let me get you on there. Okay, you should be able to screen share.
I don't have a screen share option.
Sure.
Like I don't even have a button that tells me I can screen share because I'm on a phone, not a computer.
I've got you. Okay, hang on. Okay.
I got mute voice and mute video, and that's it.
We're gonna present this to everyone. Sorry about the screen, guys. Hogan, blue knee pad. Enter.
It looks like he left the call. He pressed the wrong button. So I will continue to try to keep us entertained while he is gone. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to try. Uh, so it looks like the main purpose of what he's trying to present here is he has a reality where he remembers Hulk Hogan with blue knee pads at some point, even though the action figure only shows him with the red. But I'm not sure exactly how it all ties in. I'm not going to try to, I guess, speculate exactly. But if you are listening and you are in chat, just bear with us while we get through this. Sure, he'll pop right back in, and hopefully he realizes that he's not on the call. We'll pop right back in here any moment. Other than that, I was looking and trying to think other Mandela effects that recently kind of been a hot topic, and there hasn't really been anything super.
I hope we didn't lose the broadcast.
No, I've been talking while you were gone.
You still there?
Yeah.
Shoot. I want. See, this is what happens when I try to start screen sharing. It completely shuts down the. Stop presenting. I'll have to hop back out and hop back in. I'm sorry. Guys, we're having some technical difficulties. I'll be right back. Keep the show going, won't you?
I'll do my best. So I'm trying to see if there's like some other recent ones that have kind of popped up, and there really hasn't been anything super recent. So I guess that's you're back.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. But I showed you on my phone. I had the phone on screen at one time, and it was in large view. But we won't talk about that no more.
Yeah, I was bombing too without you, so I'm glad you're back.
Uh, oh man, I'm sorry about that. But what I'm going to do for the audience right now is I want to talk about. Hold on, put yourself on mute for a second.
All right.
I'm getting an echo. There we go. Okay. What I want to talk, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask the audience a question too. Um, you know Cowboy, don't you?
I know. I don't know him personally, but I know who you're referring to, like from your family, from your Mandela family videos and whatnot. And I've seen him in chat on Dan's channel, but I don't personally know him.
Well, he has a pretty good. He has a pretty good channel. He does a lot of videos, or not a lot of videos, but I know he has a lot of live streams that he likes to do and stuff. And a lot of them he has mentioned on quite a few occasions. And I would love to have him on the show, um, but there's a little bit of discord there. But I won't get into all that. But what I will say is that he has mentioned on quite a few occasions that he is a dog whisperer. And I'm kind of curious about that whole subject because, and I know this sounds like I'm messing around or I'm pranking him or I'm joking around. I'm being completely, totally serious. And what I've always wondered is, do dogs have their own language? I mean, it's not like, or do they go around speaking English like the rest of us? Because I know that when, do you, what do you have to do to become a dog whisperer? Is it kind of like, I don't know, is it kind of like a third sense? I mean, a third sense, a sixth sense, like a psychic, where you can kind of telepathically hear them? Or is it like, do you have to learn a certain language, kind of like Spanish or French? But it's dog language. I would be. Go ahead. You answer.
Okay, now I I know a little bit about this because I've done a little bit of dog training along the way, and the thing is with dogs, a lot of trainers do use other languages when they're training dogs, especially like security dogs. A lot of them will use German or Russian or even Japanese, simply because the commands will be in that language, so that a person who speaks English wouldn't know what how to tell them how to sit. You would give them the command in German, and they would understand you because you're speaking because they've been trained that way. However, um, dogs can learn a vocabulary when you're training them, but they have a very limited amount of capacity. I mean, it depends on each dog is different. Each dog is like on a case by case basis. But for instance, your average dog can, of average intelligence, can learn somewhere between 50 to 70 um, commands, and also just learn what you're talking about, listening to you in if it's in a family environment, listening to the family converse. Like most dogs are very keen to learn the word bacon. It seems to be an important word for them. I'm not really sure why. Um, and hot dog really kind of stands out for them as well. When you mention hot dogs, their ears perk up, which is funny because you know they are dogs, even though when they eat a hot dog, it's not really considered cannibalism because there is no dog in hot dog. But I digress. Um, but I've never been a dog whisperer per se. A dog whisperer is kind of like uh, taking it to like a more of a zuru or zen, a guru or zen level where you're like kind of like um, connecting consciously with your dog. You know, like you're you're actually becoming on a you're actually getting on a conscious into a conscious realm with the dog where you're picking up on its feelings and its emotions and things of that nature where I don't have any experience with that.
Well, now the reason I bring this up is a lot of people are going to think I'm giving him a ribbing, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to come off as a smart aleck or anything like that. I know it sounds like that because of what I just said, and yeah, I was kind of joking a little bit when I said like, well, can you get dog speech on tape? Like, is there an audio book for that? You know, I was joking around, but seriously, do you know? My wife told me something that I found very interesting. Is that a cat will not meow to other cats? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I know that they hiss at other cats.
Yeah, that's right. They will not meow at other cats. Now they will. I think they only meow to humans. So my second part of the question would be: can dogs understand cats, and vice versa? Can cats understand dogs? It's,
Well, I think that the cat and the dog thing is they they understand each other even without speaking. They pick up on body language. They pick up on um, their mannerisms. Like if a dog. I mean, you can look at a dog a lot of times and you can tell if the
sure.
dog looks intimidating or not. And the cat can look at a dog and tell if it looks like it's about to eat it or not. And I think that a dog and a cat, the it really all just depends on the situation. I haven't really done any research on it recently to be well versed on the subject, but I mean, just based on cats and dogs that I've owned over the years, I think they communicate quite well. But I don't think that they actually have to speak to each other in order to do so.
Here's another interesting tidbit for you. Did you know that cats look at humans as larger cats? They don't look at us like we're humans. They look at us like we're just large cats with thumbs. I, I know that sounds funny, but my wife actually looked it up, and it's sure enough, it's true. I mean, I don't know if it's true. Like you can't really.
Well, that kind of contradicts the last thing you said about them not meowing to other cats. Because if then they see us as a cat, why would they meow to us?
Right. I'm just saying, hey man, I'm just saying what I heard. By the way, we need to do a shout out real quick. Mr. Jocko is watching. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Jocko.
Yeah, thank you, Jocko. Welcome.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's the other thing that she told me is that cats will only meow at humans. And obviously, yeah, that does contradict itself. I'm wondering, though, maybe they see us as a different kind of cat, like how tigers and lions are also cats. Maybe they do meow at tigers and lions. I don't know.
Very, very interesting. I'm not sure. I personally, I like cats, but I can't have an indoor cat because I'm allergic to them.
I'm allergic to cats as well. And honestly, to be honest with you, a lot of people are going to give me flack for this or flack or whatever the term of the word is. But I really don't care for cats that much. To be honest with you, a cat will look at you. A cat only wants its needs met. I mean, yeah, there are cats out there that are very affectionate and they will keep you company and this and that. But another good tidbit for you is that a cat will eat you immediately after you die. Like it'll start eating off of you, and I guess a dog will too. I think a dog will wait about 2 or 3 days to start eating off of you, after you die, but a cat this is what I heard. Don't shoot the messenger. Will eat you immediately after you've died. Did you know that?
Well, I mean, if it's starving, a dog wouldn't choose you over other food sources if it had them available. But I didn't know a cat would start eating on you shortly after you died. No, I was not aware of that.
Well, it's true. I mean, as far as I know. But anyway, what got me started on the dog and cat subject was the fact that Cowboy said that he is a dog whisperer, and I find that very interesting. And I would like to have him on the show to talk about this subject because you know, I'm very interested in it because there are dog whisperers. You know, there are horse whisperers. There's dog whisperers. There's even cat whisperers and cat psychics. Now, the cat psychics, I'm a little bit skeptic of, but you could certainly tell uh, body language, emotions. You could tell a cat or dog, or any animal for that matter, that they show emotion, they show fear, love, uh, hatred, and other emotions as well. And you could certainly tell their body language, the way they act, like they'll act a strange way. Like we were talking about demons last week on Shifty Sunday, and you know they say that cats and dogs can sense the presence of demons or ghosts or anything like that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that dogs and cats have their sensory input is definitely more advanced than ours. I mean, dogs can smell a lot more. They can hear a lot better. I'm sure are in that same category as far as their ability to pick up frequencies and things of that nature. So, taking it to an astral plane, I'm sure that they would be more inept to pick up on that as well. Especially, considering a lot of that stuff happens at night and in dark places, and they see better in the dark. I know they pick up on air pressure and parabolic frequencies as well, where they notice if there's imminent weather coming or a tornado, or even sometimes before earthquake happens or something like that. They've been known to have some type of to act differently.
I tell you what, we had some storms here in Southern Illinois quite a few years ago, and just before those storms hit, my dog started going absolutely ape shit. I mean, it just started going back and forth and barking like it barked a whole week. And my dog doesn't usually do that. It doesn't usually bark a whole lot. And in fact, I've got to, when someone comes and knocks at the door, I've got to tell it that someone's at the door. uh, but when we had those severe storms, that dog just went absolutely ape. And I'm telling you, they absolutely have a sense of a sixth sense, if you will. So anyway, yeah, as I was saying, if we ever have Cowboy on the show, I would like for him to expand on that and tell us more about his dog whispering. And I see we've got Scare Performance watching. Very cool, very cool. Thanks for tuning in, buddy.
Yeah, welcome, Scarab. Welcome, Dan. Glad to have you in here. Another interesting thing I heard about dogs is they don't have a sense of the future. They only really have a sense for today. They don't look forward to what's that days in advance, but they do have a sense of time, in the sense they know what time they have a sense for when it's lunchtime, when it's dinner time. If you come home from work every day at 6:30 in the evening, they start waiting at the door about a half hour before you arrive. Things of that nature.
Huh, sorry, I was typing.
I thought I had lost you again.
No, not this time. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into the Mr. Bill Mandela effect here in just a few moments. Um, I was going to type it in, but I'll go ahead and say it. Dan, you must have nothing better to do if you're watching this show. I do appreciate you stopping by. Seriously, man. No, we got two watchers, and it's him and Mr. Jocko.
Hey, I'm happy to have both of them. Every watcher is a good watcher, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, absolutely. Even though we don't really have that much of a show, much to talk about, so to speak of, it's definitely not as riveted as our Sunday show, but it's cool. Hey, stick around. We got some good stuff coming up, man. You missed the whole Hulk Hogan thing, which I don't think really is a thing. To those of you who are not wrestling fans, who haven't been WWF fans, or now it's WWE your whole life, but I was showing them the fact that Hulk Hogan now has blue knee pads and his color scheme. And I'll turn the camera back on real quick so I can show everybody this action figure. I'll show them. See how he has the, it's kind of blurry. Let me back him off a bit. My camera sucks. You got the yellow boots, the yellow trunks, and the red knee pads. And now, if you Google it, you'll see that he has, turn my camera back off, has the blue knee pads. And it's in the same year. I wish I could screen share. I really do. I can't. Every time I try to screen share, it goes off the air. If you Google it now, it appears as though he has blue knee pads everywhere. And it could be just a variant. You know how most action figures, there are variants. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really going to mark it off as a Mandela effect just yet. But we have a Mandela effect that you discovered, Sagittariusly speaking. And if you want to go ahead and talk about it, we'll go ahead and talk about it.
Right. Well, I can't honestly say I discovered it. I saw it in a comment section or on someone's Twitter feed where they had made mention that I can't believe that Mr. Bill doesn't say, "Oh no," in this reality. So I proceeded to go to YouTube and start watching some Mr. Bill episodes, and I did catch instances where he actually says the words "oh no," but he doesn't say it very often. And when he does say it, he says it as part of his talking, like when I think it's Mr. Blusto is his counterpart, or the bad guy, the villain, the Bluto or Brutus of Mr. Bill. And when Mr. Blusto comes up, I mean, he'll be like, "Oh, no," Mr. Hands will mention, "Oh, look, Mr. Blusto is here." And he'll say, "Oh, no, not Mr. Blusto." But he doesn't like over pronunciate the words, "oh, no." And if you're not really listening for it, you might not even catch it. But then, as far as when he's actually in pain and he starts in his high pitch squeal, he just says, "oh, oh, oh, oh." He just repeats that over and over again. And I know, I mean, I was pretty young when I used to watch Mr. Bill. I was probably only 10 or 12 years old when I stay up later than I should, watching Saturday Night Live, and actually got to see an episode here and there. But I do clearly remember him saying, "oh, oh no, oh no." But the word "no" doesn't come out of his mouth. And if it does, it's very hard to pick up. And I don't know. I think it's debatable as to whether this is an ME or not. I think that it seems like a reality shift to me.
Well, I'm going to try to play a sound clip here. I've got it ready to go. My internet's kind of acting up. So, oh no, you know,
Oh no!
oh no. But here's one where it's a Mr. Bill safety tips. And before I play this, I got to say that this is not my property. This is the property of Saturday Night Live and the creator of Mr. Bill. I can't really give him credit right now because I can't think of his name, but I won't play the visual. I don't think I could play the visual, but I think I could play the sound. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I say go for it.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try not to play too much of it. Here it goes, and let's see if you can hear the. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
One of the unluckiest people in the world, Mr. Bill. Stop! You should know better than to play with matches because they're very dangerous. You're right, Mr. Bill. Matches are very dangerous. And speaking of dangerous, kids, you should never ever smoke either. That's a good point, Mr. Bill. I'll put it out. Gee, kids, crossing the street can be very
Okay. Now, did you hear him? Did you guys hear it?
I can't come on because of the echo.
I am echoing. I can hear myself echoing. What the heck's going on here? Okay, very funny. Okay, I'll play another one. I'll play another short clip. This is Mr. Bill crossing the street. Okay.
All right, go for it.
Okay, here we go. Let's hope there's no echo.
Now first you have to look both ways. Okay, now second you have to make sure the light is green. Okay, now it's safe to cross. Make that forward. You know, things around the house can be dangerous too, like these electric circuits. Never put any hands around it. Say, I want to watch TV, Mr. Bill. Okay, okay, kids, we're gonna
See?
try to cross the street again. Now remember, you have to look all four ways. Okay, I think it's safe to cross now. Make that five ways. Things around the kitchen can be dangerous too, like plastic bags. You could suffocate in one of these. Say, Mr. Bill, I couldn't finish lunch. I'll put my sandwich in here to keep it fresh. You should never be wasteful. No, wait, I can't breathe though. Speaking of something.
Now I gotta say, on that last clip that I just played, I can kind of hear. I can kind of hear the oh no kind of when he put them inside the sandwich bag. Now, am I just hearing things, or did you hear that too?
Again, it's not as even if it's there, it's not the distinct oh no that I remember. I remember it was clear. I mean, the catchphrase for Mr. Bill is "Oh no." I mean, nobody just says the Mr. Bill. They say "Oh no, Mr. Bill." With that being said, I'm not hearing enough no for it to be considered "Oh no, Mr. Bill." It's just my personal take on the subject. Now, when I am listening and I'm really trying to critique it, effectively, I am sometimes picking up on the slightest of no's in one of the O's when he's repeating the O's, but not to the point where I'm actually getting a clear no.
Now here's the interesting thing. Okay, now I'm gonna play a clip. I don't think that this came off of Saturday Night Live. This is something I think somebody made, but if anything, it proves that there's definitely residue. So here's some residue. Here's the residue clip, okay?
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
All right, here it goes.
Oh, no!
Now that was residue clip. That was made by, I can't even pronounce that name, but so there you go. You clearly hear the oh no there, but that is
I would say that's how I would remember it, and that's apparently how that particular person remembers it as well, or else they wouldn't have made it that way. I'm sure.
Now, do you have the Christmas special that you sent me?
I think it's still in the links in our Hangout session.
Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit of that Christmas special. Let me get it to the time mark. Hold on, let me turn that down. Get it to the time mark where they put them in the blender. I believe it is.
When
Let's
they
see.
make um, dog nog.
Yeah, dog nog. Oh, now Dan's getting on to us for dog shaming. So, hey, it all ties into dog whisperers, right? The
There
dog.
you go.
Now, I got to say, ladies and gentlemen, I do not condone dog nog or the making of dog nog. And by the way, there were no actual dogs harmed in the making of this video or this live stream. Man, you can barely hear it.
Let's see what Boss Sluggo would whip up.
Ma Sluggo. So the bad guy was Sluggo.
Sure, you just have some milk, some spices, 2 eggs, and 1 dog. Oh, no, you leave Spot alone. No, don't do that. No, wait, no, no.
Now I heard, oh. Is that what you heard too?
Yeah, it was tough to make it to hear it through the with the blender going at the same time. But yeah, I pretty much heard oh.
See, yeah, I've also, I've got to have a better microphone. I'm going to go down to the Best Buy. Get me one of those good microphones.
But I think it's pretty
Uh-oh.
safe to assume that either oh no is just an is not the correct phrase for Mr. Bill. He should have just been oh Mr. Bill, or something has shifted possibly.
Sorry, I was muted up. There is a possible shift, but I will say this: I could, if I when I sat there and listened to it last night, I could almost hear it both ways. In a way, I could hear if you sit there and listen to it very quietly, you could hear the "oh no" coming out of the "oh," but like you said, he does say "oh no" when he's before he actually does something to him. He's like, no, don't do it, don't put me in there, no, you know. But there's definitely when you hear it when he's doing the high pitch noise, you definitely hear the oh instead of oh no, you know.
I totally know.
So why we've got some.
So apparently you know that I know that you know that I know that Mr. Bill does not say oh no.
Well, here's the thing about that. I know that you know that I know that you know that I know that he doesn't say oh no, but do they know that I know and you know that he doesn't say oh no? You
You know,
know?
I'm not really sure if they know or not, but I know that you know that I know that we should find out if they know. If Mr. Bill says oh no.
Let's ask them. Let's ask the chat. And I'm looking at the chat, by the way. Sorry if I hadn't been paying attention a while ago. Wow, we got Suso. You know what? Let's ask the chat first, and then I'll do a quick shout out. How about that?
All right, sounds good to me.
Now, so chat, we need a little help with this. How many of you are hearing the oh no, and how many of you are hearing just oh, oh? Get a little bit of help here. Now you got to remember there's a little bit of a delay in the chat, so we'll give them a little bit of time. But we got 6 watching. That's amazing.
Apparently, Mr. Bill's still popular.
I guess so. You know, we talked about. I talked about with my wife one time. We were talking about getting a Mr. Bill, getting the action figures. They make the bendable action figures for Mr. Bill. We thought, yeah, I could do the hands. You know, she could do the Mr. Sluggo, and I could do the Mr. Bill voice, fairly decent, I guess. So we were thinking, yeah, we'll do the Mr. Bill. You know, the thing about it is, there's also T-shirts out there that say, "Oh no," and so Robin says he said they can hear "oh oh." Mr. Jocko is "oh oh." Let's see here. Let's see who else do we have. Suso said he never heard no. I don't see a whole lot more. So let's go ahead and give the room a quick shout out. Since I've got the chat, I'll go ahead and do it since God's Armor's not here. We've got Jocko R. Scared Performance was here. Suso's here. We got Robin Nilly with a wrench. Mandela Reality is here. And let's see. I think that's it. So there's your shout out, everybody. So what do you think about that?
I think that's amazing. I think that it's pretty much the census is in. Everybody hears, oh, I didn't hear you say anybody heard no.
You know, I was thinking about something. Um, Next week on Shifty Sunday, we're going to do phone calls. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea. Taking it up a level or two. I'm inviting anybody who's in the chat room now to come on Sunday and possibly call in because we'll definitely would appreciate any callers we can get.
Absolutely wonderful. I've already got something set up. Me and God's Armor spent about 2 hours one day setting something up. But you know what? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a good microphone. I heard tell somewhere that Mr. Dan has an excellent microphone that he spent quite a bit of money on. And I'm just kidding. I don't know how much he spent on it, but I heard he does have a really good microphone. Of course he does. But I'm gonna just get a really good microphone and just do the phone calls through the microphone. You can also get a soundboard of some sort, but all that stuff is too complicated for me. It just goes over my head. I'm not a technological guy. As you know, I have trouble each and every week with the Hangouts trying to hear you guys. Every time you come on, I can't hear any of you guys. You come on. And we had a great show last week, man. We had you and me, of course, and God's Armor, the usual suspects, and we had Jesus' Calling was on the program. And we were talking about demons and casting out demons. And there was a couple things that I'd left out on last week's show. And I'm going to bring them up here tonight. I actually contacted what was the guy we were talking about? The paranormal. Oh, Huff Paranormal. I contacted Steve Huff and sent him an email. And whether or not I'm going to hear from him or not will be a miracle. But I would like to have him as a guest on the show sometime. I want to talk to him about his spirit box and how the spirit box is a possible doorway or another dimension to demons. You know?
Right? I totally understand. It would be awesome if he responds and gives you some type of. Did you ask him any questions like about what did you ask him specifically?
Well, I told him we have an excellent group over here. I said we deal with mostly, I didn't really want to say conspiracy theories because that's not really what we do. Because you and I both know, and everyone else knows, it's not a conspiracy. I don't consider what we talk about conspiracies necessarily, but I guess the rest of the world that doesn't know what we're going through certainly considers it conspiracy. But I kind of just told him, we are mostly a Mandela affected group, but I said we also deal with spirituality as well. And I asked him if he wanted to, if he would like to come on the show and talk about spirits and spirituality and stuff like that concerning, because I know what he does as a paranormal investigator, and I basically went on and told him what we would like to have him on and talk about. I told him what the show we had last week about demons, and we really didn't. When we talked about demons in last week's show, we didn't really get down to the bone of it. We didn't really talk about the casting out of demons and how Jesus casted out a demon. I would like to go into some of that real quick if you're okay with it.
I mean, if it's something if you want to talk about, sure, let's do it.
I'd like to remind our listeners that it's a touchy subject, and it is something um, that you want to put a layer of protection around yourself when you're talking about that stuff, because it certainly is. The enemy is listening. You know that, and they'll definitely try to get through, and they could cut through this. I mean, the enemy could cut through anything. You know, so you got to be careful about it. And I don't know how to say the prayers like God's armor does or Jesus' calling does, but I'll try my best before we get into it, start talking about it. Um, so uh, here I go. I'm going to try my best. Hold on a second. Go ahead and keep up the chat for a second. I got to get my thoughts together. All right, I got them together. Let's see how I start. Dear Father, please, please protect us. Don't let any evil in. Only keep the positive. Only keep the positive in. We talk about this for educational purposes only. We do not invite any evil into this realm or our world whatsoever. We do not allow any of you in here through the broadcast or through anything else. And please just keep us safe from them and keep us protected. And that's thank you, Lord. And um, okay, that's amen.
Amen.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. As I said, I'm not very good at it, so I did. That's the best I could do. Um, but no, I just wanted to touch on the fact that Jesus was the first caster of demons. You know this, right?
Well, I do know.
There's a story in the Bible And oh, Mr. Jocko, there's no reason to be scared. Oh shit, we're losing. We're losing. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it. We're losing people. Um, there's a story, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, but there's a story about an old man, and his son was being possessed by a demon, and uh, anyway, the old man come up to Jesus, and he knew that Jesus was healing people and stuff, and he asked Jesus to cast out the demon. Now I'm just paraphrasing from stories I've heard and seen and stuff, and so anyway, Jesus, from the stories I read, just raised up his hand and he told Satan, he said, Satan, leave him. And the guy was cured, certainly just like that. Satan left. Now, of course, Jesus, of course, had the power to do this. But we as humans also have this power, certainly not the same at the same capacity as Jesus. Definitely not. I'm not saying that. And don't misquote me on this, but certainly we all have it within ourselves to pray. We could say a prayer to Jesus, say, Lord, give us the strength to please help us fight the enemy and to be safe. You know what I mean? He gave us, he didn't give us the authority, I don't guess, but he gave us the instructions. Robin said it correctly. He gave us the instructions to do so. What are your thoughts on this?
I was on mute, so bear with me. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest way we stay demon free is through preventative maintenance more so than um, I think if once you actually have some type of possession occurring or you have some type of demon, high level demon event in your life, I think it's best to seek out, you know, somebody of a pedigree in that sort of field. Like I would get um, you know, a, a pastor or a preacher or somebody of that nature to come assist me. But as far as preventative maintenance is concerned, just try to keep that kind of stuff away from you. Don't play with Ouija boards and mess with tarot cards if you're not educated on such things and how to do it properly.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on. Also, I know it's a touchy subject, but the Catholic Church, um, also claimed to specialized in that area. I won't go too deep in detail. That I know how a lot of people feel about the Catholic Church, certainly, but there's also um, clergymen like Indian chiefs and all that stuff. No, I'm sorry, Native American chiefs and all that stuff. Sort of, they have their own ways of dealing with it, with sages and stuff like that. You burn sages in your house and stuff like that to ward off evil spirits. But there's a difference between evil spirits and demons for sure. But I just wanted to I wanted to bring that up on Sunday, but we got so deep into other things that we moved on, and I never really got an opportunity to touch on that. So I I just wanted to bring that up. What do you think of that?
Sorry about that. It just takes me a second to unmute sometimes. Yeah, I mean, it's again, I don't really know a whole lot about it, he bro. To be honest with you, I know that um, it would probably be best to bring it up again when we have God's armor with us, so that he can give you some insight on his take, because I don't know a lot about that subject to have a opinion really one way or the other.
Well, I tell you, it's yeah, definitely. We'll have God's armor next Sunday, and next Sunday will be the call-in show, so people can call in and they can talk about what I would like to have happen, and it's probably not going to happen. Is I'd like to have people talk about their personal stories if they've had experiences with the paranormal or with ghost or even just things moving around the room. Uh, the other night, it was actually not too long after we did our broadcast. I saw a ghost story on Telly Savalas. Do you remember Telly Savalas?
The name rings a bell, but I can't remember who it is.
Yeah, well, he used to be Kojak, and he used to have a lollipop and stuff like that. That was his gimmick. But anyway, um, so he tells a story about there's this guy, and he was in his car, and Telly Savalas. I don't think he was a famous actor at that time or anything. He tells the story about getting stuck on the side of the road, and he had a gas can with him. Well, it was in his car, I guess, and so he's stuck on the side of the road, and he's walking down the roadway, and this car pulls up, and a very eerie voice says, "I'll give you a ride." And I know that sounds funny and everything, but that's the way he tells the story. And he gets in the car, and they're driving along, and Telly Savalas is reaching in his pockets, and he knows he didn't have any money. And gas was very, very cheap back then. I guess this was the late 60s, early 70s, or something like that. And so then the guy reaches in his wallet, offers to pay for his gas and everything. He said, "Well, no, I don't take charity." He said, um, uh, "Give me your address, and I'll mail it back to you." And then, so the guy wrote down his address and phone number and everything. And they get going down the road, and they start talking about baseball. And he's talking about all these different center fielders and all this stuff. They get talking about baseball and Boston Red Sox and stuff like that being his favorite team and stuff. Anyway, long story short, um, Telly Savalas he gets to the gas station, gets the gas in his gas gas can, whatever. He thanks the guy just kind of disappears, and he doesn't really think much of it, and he drives home. And the next day, he said he went to the phone to call the guy to see where he could meet him at to give him the pay him back the dollar. I think he only owed him like $1 or something like that. And so he gets talking, and his wife answers the phone. Well, he didn't know at the time it was his wife, so he asked for so and so, and she answers the phone. She said, "Who is this?" And he told her, who he was and everything. And he says, "What do you want?" He said, "Well, I just wanted you to know that I got a ride from your husband, and he I borrowed some money for him, and I wanted to find out where you're at so I can pay you back." And she said, "You son of a bitch! You ever call here again, I'll call the police on you." So, huh? Well, that's strange. And it turned come to find out, whenever he had talked to her again. He called back again, and she said he'd been dead for the last 12 years, and to never ever call there again. And well, he found that really strange, so he got to talking to her, and he finally convinced her that he had, in fact, talked to her husband. And he said he talked in a high pitched, skrilly voice. And she said, "No, he never talked in a high, screechy voice. He always talked in a deep voice like you're talking now." And then he come to find out the guy shot himself through the throat, or he got shot through the throat or something like that. And that's how he died. And so there's an interesting ghost story for you. I don't know what you think about that. Now we had talked about, how we think that ghosts are not really dead loved ones, that they're demons talking through our dead loved ones. But I don't know. After I saw that story, it kind of got me to thinking about things. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. The closest thing I can think of that kind of relates to that is a lot of times people get these um, transplants, organ transplants, where they might get like a heart transplant is the most common one where this kind of phenomenon occurs. But there's instances like say where a young a young 20-something-year-old um, dies suddenly in a car crash or whatever, and then her heart gets transplanted into a 40, 50-year-old male, and all of a sudden the person that received that new heart um, starts singing specific songs that he doesn't even really necessarily know or is that familiar with, or how he starts having cravings for specific foods that they wouldn't, normally wouldn't even think of having, like something bizarre like oysters or something. All of a sudden, they have a craving for oysters, and people have documented where it was actually the person that donated that organ had that specific. That was their favorite song. They sung it all the time, and they karaokeed it every time they went out to a bar, and they were in some type of karaoke troupe, or they um, they had a strong passion. Things that the donor had a strong passion for somehow transfer into the recipient of the organ, and I find that to be very, very compelling as well.
You hear all the time about people experiencing past lives. Also, um, you hear about little kids who talk to their parents and they talk to them about places that they've been to that they've never even seen or never even been. And when they drive and they go and look at the house, it's exactly the way the kid is describing it. That gets me wondering too. And the other thing is, I don't know if you caught the last Scare Performance's last show. He had a doctor on the show. Um, that would be something that I wonder if he ever asked that doctor about people coming back from the dead, if they had uh, what do you call it, life, not past lives, near death experiences. If that doctor ever had dealings with people who had near death experience, if they ever explained in detail what they saw after they died. Because, we talked about people that die, they don't see anything. Like the rich man and Lazarus story where he came back, or he didn't come back. He couldn't see his family. He couldn't get to the other side or anything. So it makes me wonder: do any of the doctors that we know of, do they have patients that had past life, or not past lives? Sorry, near death experiences.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out. Are you there?
Yeah, I was just just waiting for you to.
Yeah, I don't really. It's not. I guess it's not something I know a lot about. I try to share what I know, but I don't. I don't know much about that.
Well, I tell you what, I would love to have. I wish I knew a doctor that I could put on the show. Uh, but that's something that you could send an email to Dan, ask him next time he has a doctor on the show. Maybe he did have that talk and did talk about it. Um, I don't know if he's still watching our live stream right now or not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we've been on for about an hour now, and I'm kind of blurting out stuff. We're not really talking about anything a whole lot more interesting than what we've already talked about. We've already pretty much covered the Mr. Bill thing to death. Uh, I wish we had a lot more stuff. I like talking about the past life thing, but Sagittariusly speaking doesn't know much about it, and I don't know much about it either. I know that I've heard about it. I've heard about people that's claimed to come back or that claim to seeing things from the other side. But oh, this is interesting. Robin Neely says that she died before and got revived, came back, and had you had a near death experience, Robin? That's interesting. I would like for you to come on the show sometime and talk about it. Um, if you want to share, I don't know if you want to share or not. Uh, but another thing, the organ transplant thing that you're talking about, I've heard about that before, where people have had organ transplanted, and even Robin said that she knows people that's had blood donated and stuff like that. That's even had um, cravings and stuff like that. And there's cell memory. Cell memory is what it's called, I do believe. And cell memory is, I don't know a whole lot about cell memory. I have heard about that before, and it has a lot to do with the cells that are still the living tissues that are connected to the organs. Man, it's getting really cold in here. I'm like shivering. Um, I need to turn my air off. But I'm going to have to ask Dan about that when we do a call in one of these nights to see if he knows of anybody that's had um, near death experiences. And of course, Robin's saying right now that she has. So that would be one of the topics. And you know what else? Maybe we should cover it when God's armor is on here as well. Maybe next Sunday.
Yeah, another aspect, I think a good philosophical question to ask yourself is, um, I mean, your consciousness does, yeah, cell memory is the big part of it, but your consciousness, where does it really exist? Does it exist in your mind? Does it exist in your heart? Does it share both places? I mean, does it even exist in your gut? And I ask this because there's times when I feel things so strongly, premonition wise, or intuition or intuitively wise, especially when I'm in danger or feel a sense of danger. I feel it in my gut, like that I need to get away from here, or so part of my consciousness I feel literally resides deep down in my gut. Then there's times when I'm feeling super um, romantic, or a strong sense of love, or empathy, and I feel it in my chest, not necessarily in my heart, but in my chest. And there's times when I'm feeling very logical, and I feel it in I feel like my consciousness is coming. That consciousness is coming from my brain. So it bodes for the curious nature of, and I realize that there's a science out there where they mention chakras and things of that nature, and I think there's a lot to that. Um, but then when you pass, I mean, those things, the gut is still there, the chest is still there, but your consciousness leaves your body, obviously. Um, so you as a person, I think us as people, we might be all of those things cohesively, um, as a human being on Earth in the flesh. But I don't believe that we are our bodies. I think that our bodies are kind of like tools or vessels that our consciousness uses to interact in this reality. So the question I guess I'm asking is, are we the spirit or are we the body? Or are we neither? Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it does make sense, and I do have somewhat of an answer to your question, all of your questions actually. Um, and a lot of this is just speculation, and a lot of it is my opinion, a lot of it is science. And I know that sounds weird that I'm talking about science and spirituality in the same sentence, but um, the consciousness in scientific terms, as we all know, in scientific terms, is the brain. But also in scientific terms, you know, as you know, and I'm trying to make a point here. Just bear with me, and I'll have uh, an answer for you. But you know all the stuff I'm going to say already. You already know it. Scientifically, yes, consciousness is the brain. Um, Spiritually, Jesus said that our body's a temple, and the heart of Jesus, the heart Jesus is in our hearts, and Jesus said that He lives in our hearts with our our spirit, and our spirit would be somewhere, I would say, around the heart. Scientifically, we're all made of cells. We're all made of atoms, and what's the other word I'm looking for? We're all made of atoms and um, just bear with me here. We're all made of atoms and nucleuses and cells and membranes and all that stuff. And one of my theories is we were talking about the spirit or the soul or whatever the other day in our live stream when we did Shifty Sunday. And I personally, I have several theories, but two of them is when we were talking about ghost. Two of my theories on ghost is that we have energy, that when we die, our energy is left over, that it leaves our body. The energy leaves the body and it stays here. And some of that energy manifests in the form, like if you see a ghost, like what do you call an aberration, aspiration, you know what I'm saying? And but there's also, that's the physical ghost, that or spirit. That's the physical. Now, spiritually, if you're talking about spiritually, I believe it's in our heart. I believe our souls are next to our heart. Now, they did a experiment uh, years ago. They did several experiments with people that have died, and they weighed people. And what they did is they knew this person was going to die, and they weighed them just before they died, and then they weighed them after they died. And what they found out was that right after they died, they actually weighed several ounces less than they did when they died, or before they died, than they did when they died. Now, they included, they made sure they included all the fluids and the bathroom stuff and all the blood and all that stuff that drains out of your body naturally. They made sure to include all the that stuff, the mucus, all that stuff. So it um maybe the soul has weight too, who knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also I'd like to add to that that I personally, I mean, I know the morticians go to great lengths to to create for people who want to do an open casket, a presentable um corpse, for lack of a better word. Um, but I've never seen a person after they have passed, and I've not seen many dead people, but I've had a few relatives pass away along over the years, and they never look the same. No matter how much makeup you put on them, no matter how much you dress them up, the person without their spirit inside them doesn't. That vessel no longer looks like that person to me, as far as I'm concerned. They may still have the same physical structure, they may still have the same color hair, and other than that, they look to me nothing like the person that existed with a spirit in it. That's just my personal opinion.
Little small tidbit here. They actually use paint. They don't use makeup because the makeup doesn't stay on the body after it's dead. Because in order for makeup to stay on the body, you have to have all your oils in your skin, and when you die, all your oils, they dry up after you're in the what do they call that state after you're dead. Um,
Rigor mortis, you mean?
yeah, after that kicks in. So they're actually using a sort of spray paint. Um, it's not spray paint like we use, like we go down the hardware store and buy exactly. But I know that.
Yeah, I'm sure they have many tools of the trade that we're totally unbeknownst to. Kind of like any other specialized field like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing about it is you know, these are just skin suits that we're living in right now. Once we're rid of them, once I'm rid of mine, I don't give a crap what the hell they do with mine. They could just throw me in an open grave for all I care, because what's the difference? Uh, the body's going to rot anyway. It just rots. It becomes dust. It just becomes dust again. Our spirit is, our souls are the ones that go on and live, and our souls, and even God's armor taught me this, was that our souls aren't even going to be in a bodily form. They're in a totally different form than what we can even imagine. Like we can't even imagine like what God looks like, or what Jesus, I'm sorry, the Father looks like, or what Jesus looked like. We can't even fathom that. You know.
Yep, I'm right there with you. But with all that being said, I'm kind of ready to wrap it up if you're ready to wrap it up.
Well, I'm wanting to wrap it up, but here's the thing. I'm wanting to add on a little bit. Um, um, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, hold on. Let me just hit on one last thing here before we go. Um, I just wanted to say, everybody that's watched. Now we got 7 people watching now, and there SS was here, and he said that he missed the Mr. Bill thing. Uh, um, Wait, I mean, he could go back and watch it, but I want everybody to know, next Sunday, Shifty Sunday, me, Sagittariusly speaking, God's Armor, we will have call-ins on Shifty Sunday, so I want everybody to tune in for that. It's going to be an interesting topic. Um, I'm not quite sure what the topic's going to be, but it's going to be interesting. Just stick with me on this. And yeah, I got my air condition on, and it's getting cold in here, so I'm ready to wrap things up too. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for watching. What do you say we give the room one last shout out, and then we'll go ahead and get on out of here.
Sounds good to me. You'll have to do it though.
Oh, I know. I'm going to. This is where I miss God's armor, because God's armor usually does this for us.
Well, just do it in your best God's armor voice.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me. Have to. Uh, is this God's Armor's voice?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay. I don't think I can keep that up. Let's see here. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, let's go through the list.
Come on, you at least give us some voice. Pick a voice. Just do any voice.
Well, I could do it in this voice. Let's see here. Gonna do it in the tune of the Macho Man. All right, we had Scare Performance was here. Chaco R was here. Suso was here. Robin Neely, Mandela Reality jumped in. SS was here for a little bit. And let's see here. Oh, yeah. Gotta scroll on down, see if I'm missing anyone. And nope, that seems to be everyone. And if I missed you, I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to tune in next week. Oh, yeah.
That was excellent.
Uh,
It made me want to snap into a Slim Jim.
there you go. Next week, I'll do it in the voice of Popeye. All right. So go ahead and I'm getting echoey. There we go. Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I'd like to thank Sagittariusly Speaking for being with me. I'd like to thank well, yeah, that's pretty much all I'd like to say. And just keep in mind, God, Father blessings to everyone. And from the Hebrew channel, from all of us here at the Hebrew channel, this has been Hebrew 77 and Sagittariusly Speaking saying, so long, everybody, and good night. Oh, Mr. Peanut is on.